Hey guys, what is up? Today I come to you yet with another weekly review of All Out, and we are at episode 22. So we have 3 more weeks, 3 more episodes till season 1 is finished and done, and then we have to wait to see if we'll get any news in regards of a season 2 or no. But remember, this is not only done by Madhouse, they're also working with TMS Entertainment, so there is a possibility for a season 2. We just have to cross our fingers, pray, and hope that it is so. So we'll just enjoy the last remaining episodes of this series. So in this week's episode, we have where the team has another game, but they did lose it. So right now they're at the point of they won 3 games and lost 2 of them. But that's a huge improvement for Jinko when you recall about their history of never winning a game, whether it was practice or an official match. They have never won anything. So for them to win 3 games and, lose 2, because this game that they played, they lost this one, it's still a huge improvement, but they still have a long way to go. And by the second half of the episode, we had a moment where Oharano and his senpai, Suwa, the guy that has the 7-3 parted hair, almost looking like a mushroom hairstyle with the glasses, they're actually talking. So, and also there was a funny moment in this week's episode, but I'll save that for last. So I'm not going to talk much about the match, but they did lose the match, and Gion's tackles were not connecting. So he had where his senpais were actually, giving him advice on how he can better himself as a flanker. And even Issei, can remember, Issei mentioned that he wanted to be a flanker back in the episode with him and his brother and Ebony and all of that stuff that had happened in that episode. So they're giving them advice on how they can be better flankers, and how, if you want to tackle your opponent that's constantly moving, you should align your shoulders to their shoulders and go the opposite direction. Your right shoulder should be the opposite of their right shoulder, and so forth, vice versa with the left shoulder. And that, say suppose they were in a scrum, if your position is to be behind the scrum, and then you have where the two teams, the opposing team is on your left and your team is on the right, you should not move yourself if the ball was to go to the opponents, because that leaves a huge open space for them to do a counter attack. So they're mentoring them and giving them advice and, helping them practice to become better flankers in future events. So to get to the talk with Oharano and Suwa. Now, we did see Suwa a few times in the series, but we really never got into his character. So really, this was his first episode where we got into his character and we got to know a little bit more about him, which I am grateful for. And that's the thing with All Out, they want to flesh out as many characters as they can and make them feel more authentic and, make the story more fulfilling. So Oharano went to go pick up another manga to read after he finished the last one, and he sees Suwa in the lounge room just chilling, watching a video. And there Suwa starts to engage a talk with Oharano, and even comes off where he's hostile and telling Oharano he didn't like how he went into the game, because every time you see Oharano goes into the game, he has an indifferent face, and he did not like that about him. And he even hated the fact that Oharano is so good at rugby, but yet it's like he doesn't care. And we even have where they're both arguing back and forth and yelling at each other, and then we see where Suwa gets a little deep. And when I mean a little deep, he starts talking about himself, and it's not very good. So Suwa tells Oharano all the faults about himself that he actually dislikes about himself, even to the point of hating himself. And you can say it's borderline, or it is insecurities. So he says when he was born, he had bad eyesight, hence why he wears the glasses, and possibly why he keeps his eyes closed for a majority of the episodes we see him, except for the few times his eyes are open. And he says he has always been pale and skinny, that no matter how much times he works out, he's not capable of building any muscle. No matter how much he eats, he's not able to gain weight. And no matter how hard he works, he does not get stronger. Now, I'm not trying to, put on top of what they gave us in the context of what he said, but when he says he's not capable of gaining weight no matter how much he eats, and he's at the stage where he is in puberty, so he's growing into his adult body, that does raise some concern for me, because he's not capable of building muscle and he's not capable of gaining weight for so how long has this been going on? Of course, they probably won't go any further than what's said in this episode, but that does worry me for Suwa's character, because I don't want the same thing to happen to him like Keita back in episode 14, I believe, or episode 15, where he had to quit the team because he was not able to keep up with the team. And he even goes to further say that, while he's hating on himself, his insecurities is so large to the point where he brings it out and he portrays it onto his teammates, where he says he breaks them up into 3 categories. Like, there are those who don't even try hard, there are those who are casual and they're able to do things casually, Ebony, and still get results, and there are those who try hard and yet they see where all their hard work leads to, and they're able to get back feedback. And yet he does the same exact thing, yet he gets nothing. He puts in all the effort, he puts in 100 and he receives 0, and because of that he hates them for it. So the insecurities that he has about himself, not being strong enough, not capable of building up muscle, not eating, and the fact that he feels like he's holding back the team and he's not able to do anything, those insecurities, this self-hatred that he has for himself, he puts them out on his teammates because he sees they're able to do things that he's not capable of doing, and it just causes him to just have this demeanor about himself where he seems hostile. And he even goes to say, why was I born with this body, which shocked me when I saw it, because I never expected in a sports anime to hear a character say that they even ask themselves something like that. They have such an anxiety or hatred about themselves that they ask, why was I born with such a body like this? And this causes Oharano to kind of snap at him, because he's telling him, don't ever say that about yourself. And he's like, you don't say that about yourself. There's things that only you are capable of doing. And he says, remember how with his brother, he was introduced to rugby because of his younger brother, and the more they played, the more Oharano was getting better at it, but his brother was not. His brother was at a stalemate, and even his brother said the same statement, that even though we are brothers, why was I born with this body? And that is something that no matter how much Oharano you see him communicating with his brother through text, and he's always laughing and he feels happy, that thought of his brother self-loathing on himself, the self-loathing, the self-hatred, the insecurities he have about himself, is something that's in the back of his mind. Remember when he told Guillaume during the beach episode that the only reason he's still playing rugby is so that he can see his brother, who used to love the game but quit, come back to joining it. But the more he's playing in, the more that he's being influenced by Guillaume, you can start to see that he is growing a love for it, even if it's a little bit. And in a way, he consoles Suwa, saying that he was showing him a video of the Japanese national rugby team and the captain. And Suwa and the captain is kind of similar, that they're not very good at the game. That the captain of the rugby team is reckless. He plays as a wing, but yet he doesn't play his position good. But nonetheless, he puts his all into the game. So in other words, he was trying to tell him that it doesn't matter if you can go 100 meters or so. What's the point of pushing yourself if this is all you're capable of doing? In other words, the way I want to say it is that do your best at what you can for now. Don't try to put yourself, or don't try to compare yourself to others, because you're going to always see a fault within yourself. And if you keep doing that, you're not going to like what you're able to do. So for now, stick with what you got and keep progressing at a level that you're comfortable with. And this does help Suwa with the problem that he is having, and he goes off to say, I'm gonna go take a run, and that I'm gonna go 100 meters and such, instead of just staying at the 80 meters. And of course he sees Ebony running, and I guess he was like kind of embarrassed of what he had to say back to Oharano during their conversation just a little while ago, and it ends off with him taking a run. So what happened with the funny part after that happened, the funny part of this episode was the bath scene. And of course they had where the positions had the fronts and the backs were seeing who's going to go bathe first. So the fronts always win between Bolt and in rock paper scissors. Sorry about that. They always win. They've been winning for 3 times, and the backs are just tired of it. And we even have where Oharano is tired of it. He's grumbling and mumbling, and it's like, I can't stand going to the bath after you guys, because you guys leave the place a wreck. The water is dirty. The soap looks like carcoil. It doesn't even look like water anymore. It just looks murky and like ramen. And he keeps going like, I want to go home, I want to go home, I want to go home. And we even have where Sekizan betrays his own team, saying that no, we're going to go have a bath. And it's not until he sees Coach Komori, and Coach Komori says that he's going to take a bath with the backs, that he says, no, all of us go bathe together. That's what we do every single evening. We all bathe together. After saying that, no, the friends are going to go bathe. And that was the most hilarious moment of this week's episode. But once again, it was an enjoyable episode. We actually got into Suwa's character and character growth for him, character development. So I do hope that we get to see more of him later on for the rest of the episodes that we have left. If you saw this week's episode of All Out, do leave a comment down below on how you felt about this week's episode. What was your most favorite part from your least favorite part? How do you feel that we're now very close to the ending of this series? And are you amped up for the match between Ryoin and Jinko, even though it is a practice match? Do leave that down in the comment section below. The links are in the description box as always, so you guys could go check them out. And I'm Kimmy Chan of Anime Legends Podcast, and I will see you guys later. Bye!